scouting to see if there's any protesters coming up where the tear gas has been left off. So about an hour ago, all the protesters were split up into 3 groups by the police by firing endless showers of tear gas, and they came as far as about 300 metres from here. So now we're just reporting live to the IMC radio to see if this building is possible to be raided, because they've managed to split all the protesters up and they're approaching more and more this building. Now the smell of tear gas is getting really quite strong, but it's not stinging yet, and generally the police are surveying this area and they've blocked off down below, so it's not possible to go that way. And at the moment just trying to give up-to-date information to the radio station.
Allora, no, voglio sapere chi è, per favore, Simone. Ok, per favore, ma aiutate, per favore, siete giornalisti? Oh no, per favore, ti capita anche a te, you understand me or not? I'm doing my work, your work, he told me, he broke my camera, this, ci va tutti a lavorare, però non mi butti per terra, io non vengo, anche io, ma non mi butti per terra, capito? No, vabbè, non finisce, mi scusi così, ma aiutate per favore, no, ti dico tutto, però uno di loro mi ha preso e mi ha buttato per terra. Uno di loro l'ho cercato di identificarlo e l'hanno spostato, te lo giuro, adesso vi metto.
Dimmi poliziotto.
Un poliziotto. No ragazzi, io non voglio fare queste cose, siamo nel Truman Show, capito che ti ho detto? Non mi un cazzo così. Lo voglio fare serio, andiamo a prendere nome e cognome, conosco il prefetto qua. Lo denuncio.
No, bisogna.
Ma guardi, io non lo sto toccando.
Se ha da dirmi qualcosa in privato.
No, in privato,
in pubblico, è tutto pubblico, non c'è niente di privato qua. È tutto pubblico.
Voglio solo che lei chiama.
È tutto pubblico, vi dovete vergognare.
Voglio solo. Senti, non dare le comitate.
Ci fate lavorare per i soldi. È così che rispettate.
Posso parlare un attimo? Posso parlare di... No! Sono stato io il coinvolto, voglio parlare a 4 occhi col signore che mi ha buttato per terra. Lo perdono, però deve uscire col... che c'ha i coglioni così, che è un uomo e non un poliziotto di una divisa come me, di era questa divisa tipo pazzetto. Stavamo girando il film Verità, mo ve lo dico. Film Verità, sono andato a girare nei campi, volevano tutti i passetti del Truman Show, siamo entrati in un ruolo, tu c'hai, se ti vogliono sparare a te che stai sul cazzo, presto, te sparano, se vogliono sparare a un poliziotto lo individui, ecco perché loro sono perdenti, perché li vedi solo nella divisa, loro pure c'hanno un cuore, capito? Pasolini non era un coglione, capito ragazzi? Svegliatevi, io ieri ho assistito a delle violenze, non volevo mai assistere alla mia vita, volevo buttare le macchine fotografiche, ho visto delle cose da paura, capito? Sono stato male, facciamo pace anche, però fate uscire il colpevole che mi ha colpito, per favore, un po' di coraggio qual è? Poi se vi dicono vigliacchi, perché non uscire fuori?
Zitto, toglietevi le maschere girate, invertiamo, le 6 squadre con me andiamo, vai! Vai!
Sì, a lei, scusa.
Io di 6 squadre, c'è sta uno che dice
ma dal mio sentito andiamo dal questore. Sì, io vengo con lei, guardi, se posso dire, io me ne vengo così.
C'è da dire che, non lo so, una cosa che mi sono vissuto personalmente è che molti compagni hanno perso la testa, cioè non ragionavano proprio in preda al terrore, per cui ci sono viste scene anche brutte, cioè l'invito sarebbe quello di trovare una responsabilità e comunque restare sempre lucido, per cui ho capito che magari ce l'hai con le tute nere nel momento, però se stanno scappando la polizia, gli apri, cancelli per farli entrare in piazzale Kennedy, non li lasci fuori.
Down one of the streets we saw protesters, civilians, journalists, photographers and a TV crew. We decided to see what was happening. The civilians and journalists in a group of Italians spontaneously got down on the road and engaged in a peaceful sit-down protest 100 metres from the police. Immediately the media people began to take pictures. Patrick and I decided to join the sit-down protest, as this was exactly the type of non-violent protest which we came to Italy to be part of. The atmosphere was calmer here than elsewhere, and due to the presence of the media and normal Genoese people, we thought we'd be safe. After about 10 minutes we suddenly noticed that plainclothes men with batons and helmets had come around the back of a petrol station behind the various bystanders and were sprinting behind us in order to cut us off. Initially I thought we should stay sitting down as we had done nothing wrong. However, when everyone began to run, we panicked and did the same. We ran back towards the march. The following moments are a blur as I just put my head down and ran, looking neither left or right. Within seconds I felt a massive blow to my side and fell to the ground, and noticed a large middle-aged man in front of me to the left drawing his baton. I sprinted to his side and made it past him, or so I thought. Within yards I was pummeled to the ground by someone, and within seconds there were 4 to 6 men punching, kicking and battening me on the ground. Handcuffs were put on me and they started shouting in Italian and continued beating me. My wallet was taken out of my pocket and literally ripped open. They worked out that I was an Irish citizen through my driving licence and 3 credit cards. They continued to beat me, scream Italian at me, and one actually spat in my face. I don't speak Italian, but I attempted to impress upon these men that I was not violent, no violenza, and that I was a normal citizen, son or business professional. But any attempt to communicate was met with further violence. They dragged me back towards the back of the riot police. I was bundled into the back of an unmarked car, and 4 men dressed in civilian clothing with batons got into the car. The car sped off and they started thumping me and battening me, especially in the groin area. I noticed a photograph of the dead Carlo Giuliani on the inside corner of the windscreen like some sort of weird memento. The car was soon in the mountains and I began to literally fear for my life. Added to this terror, the most vicious of the 4 men pointed at the photograph of the dead man and then put his hand to my head in the shape of a gun and shouted "bang." Silence ensued among the 4 and absolute terror in me. My heart pounded violently and I began to hyperventilate. After what seemed like an eternity but was probably around 15 to 20 minutes, we arrived at a secluded building in the mountains. I was dragged out of the door. At the entrance to the building, a man purporting to be some sort of medic looked into my eyes, opened my mouth and basically looked me over. Within seconds he slapped me firmly and menacingly on the face and spoke Italian to my assailants. They pulled me roughly up the steps, still handcuffed, and into this building. It was not a police station or a prison, and I still don't know what it was or why I was taken there. Once inside the door, the particularly vicious man proceeded to beat me to my knees with punches and kicks. I was then dragged into the hall and handcuffs were removed, where I received a further beating by this individual and others dressed in police uniforms. I curled into the fetal position on the ground in order to protect my head and groin area, and the individual continued beating me and stamping on my whole body. He stamped down with great force. After a few minutes he stopped and left. In the cell I was brought into, there were 2 or 3 individuals receiving beating by policemen. Everywhere there was incessant shouting and screaming in Italian by Carbonari and others at those being beaten. They shouted Italian at me, and as I don't speak Italian I couldn't understand. This made some of them angry and they thumped me once more. I then realised that they wanted me to remove my clothes as the other prisoners were doing. They forced me to strip completely and then made me stand spread-eagled against the wall naked. I felt vulnerable and absolutely terrified. The shouting continued, except this time from behind. When I turned my head around, they slapped me and indicated that I was to look at the wall by pressing my face against it. The shouting and screaming continued, as did blows to my arms, ribs, back and legs, and I never knew whether their shouts were directed at me. After a few minutes I was directed to squat to the ground. They forced me to stand up, squat down, stand up and squat down between 5 to 7 times. As I was going down I was scared that something might be placed under me or inserted into my rectum. Thankfully nothing was, and after a further 2 or 3 minutes of standing facing against the wall naked, I was allowed to put my clothes back on and made to face the wall spread-eagled once again. For the next 10 or 11 hours I was made stand spread-eagled, except occasionally when I was